In these times of social distancing, there's an opportunity for the arts to fill the need for connection and healing. One example is the month-long concert and education series organized by Castle of Our Skins, Hibernian Hall, and Madison Park Development Corporation. It's a celebration of Black love meant to be shared with Black businesses and creatives. To tell us about the project is the artistic and executive director of Castle of Our Skins, Ashleigh Gordon. Thank you very much for being with us, Ashleigh.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Actually, before you put this all together, I want to have you go back to an early stage in this pandemic, a fairly painful stage for a lot of people. But what was it like for you as an artist to be, in this world where so many things were shut down?
Mm. I very much remember March 14th being my day where my first event was canceled, and then shortly after that, everything else was canceled. Feeling very paralyzed, very traumatized, unsure of what was going on. Really being able to viscerally feel that my immediate world, as opposed to someone else's immediate world, was really turned upside down. I very much needed a time to reflect and process with a whole range of emotions to really come to a another side that was not wrapped up so much in trauma, but one that was wrapped up in how do I take this and turn it into a creative space? If I wanted it to be a creative space, how do I move on from here? Very much a process, one that I'm still, as we all are working through, but able to take advantage, I think, as so many other people have, and are the digital space, and recognizing that while we may not be physically in person, we still have connective points that maybe hadn't been utilized before that we can very much tap into. So recognizing that there still is community that can still be affected and touched and reached, and seeing that optimistically as a way to move forward.
Healing music is not new, and audiences are not new either, and they experience that in some way. But what does it mean now, and what you have in mind with this program?
Sure. Well, the Black Love Project has many different aspects that uh, I'm hopeful someone can find something of connection with. So, in the very middle of this month-long project is a concert presentation, Black Love, a residency at Hibernian Hall, and that will include um, various shades of love and healing and relationship with self, relationship with community, ranging from a virtual EP sort of world premiere composed by our creative in residence, Tanya Radzwa, with movement by a collaborator of hers, Tawanda Chibikwa, that will talk really about sort of an intimate kind of love. With poet Umaleni Mlabo Adibo and Castle of Our Skins musicians, we'll sort of talk through love of culture and heritage, love of family, love of someone who has even broken your heart so that you can put it back together again and heal and move forward. And then that entire evening will also expand and end with a really beautiful collaboration that I'm looking forward to with VLA Dance and Asia Jackson, lighting designer, to explore a very intimate kind of love of self, and how we can heal and process through a sound bath meditation for the solar plexus chakra, very much focused on the body, very much focused on the self, composed by South African composer Mantiti Masibi. Ranging from intimate, ranging from family and community, very much to self, and how we can love and heal and process and enter a journey with ourselves and with others as well too.
What's the audience participation like in a project like this? I mean, in normal times, you go someplace for a couple of hours and you come back home, and that's pretty much it. But what about this? Does this have some sort of a ripple effect even beyond the performance event time?
I would certainly hope so. So the concert that I just described, that will be premiered November 13th, Friday, November 13th at 7 p.m. It'll be available streaming through the entire weekend, so you can check it out through Sunday at 11:59 p.m. engage with it multiple times, rewind it if something was really meaningful for you, and hopefully enter your own individual point of reflection. In addition to that, there will be a interactive uh, digital healing space that is very beautiful. I just caught the first draft of this, and very much focused for Black Afro diasporic audience members to be able to engage in an Afrocentric practice of healing, using elements, using water, for instance, using found elements of earth that you might have in your immediate space, to be able to think and reflect in a holistic 30-day journey with yourself, with a sort of virtual community, but very much for yourself and your own self-care. Following our concert presentation, the Wellness Collaborative, which is a new nonprofit that is really focused on holistic healing for underrepresented communities, and often those that have limited access, really, with holistic healthcare. And they will lead a gathering space, an affinity space after the concert, to really engage in dialogue around feelings of reflection, self-care, of healing, and what that journey could look like. So hopefully around this self and around our own self-care, spiritually, physically, emotionally, those are elements I think to really tap into. And then for community at large, we're also having a month-long Black Love Market to really show love and support for businesses, for creatives, both in Boston as well as outside of Boston, actually, but to be able to engage and use what we have, what resources we have, to be able to support a larger community as well too.
I imagine a lot of what's going on in this project is discovery. Maybe you've discovered some things yourself in recent months that you're putting into this event as well. What's it like for someone to be tuning into this music, or even some of the spoken word elements, and they're just totally unfamiliar with these artists? What would it be like for them?
Well, I hope first to be able to, as an audience member, come with an open mind, come with a open heart, um, understand that the work in terms of the concert presentation will be available for revisiting. So if there's something that resonated with you and you want to return to, if there's something that um, didn't didn't sit with you in some sort of way and you want to return to it, you have that opportunity. But there is, I think, very much, as you're saying, an aspect of discovery. Within the concert presentation that will air that weekend, there's very much a journey to try to showcase different aspects of love as it relates externally, as it relates really internally with ourselves. And I do think that that's a concept that I would love to really hit home and see if we can honor, especially after so much trauma has already happened this year, if it can really sit with us, certainly beyond this particular concert program, beyond the month of November, which is when we're really celebrating this, and something that we can really carry beyond this particular moment in time.
One of the other effects of these times is that even when there's something that we're familiar with musically, it sounds different. It comes to us. It speaks to us in a different way. Have you experienced that with anything that you're putting into this program?
Sure. I think centrally for me, with some of the music, there's string quartets by African American and African composers um, that are being paired with spoken word. And in communicating with Umaleni, as this project is very collaborative, what aspects around self love and healing and self care she wanted to highlight. It was really interesting for me to take a look at our repertoire and listen in a new way with respects to her poetry, how this music could be paired, how feeling loss of family member and understanding and sort of grappling with how can I move on when literally a limb of my life, of my flesh and blood, has been removed from me, and being able to find a piece where I hadn't heard it in this way before, but makes sense. And this piece is Dorothy Redmore, her modes for string quartet. It makes sense that there's so much unease, there's so much discomfort, that there's so much pain and resolution that doesn't resolve in the same vein as her poetry. Similarly, with thinking about power and culture and strength, being able to look at a piece by Jesse Montgomery, for instance, and hear it with new ears in response to poetry. I think for me as an artistic director, as a curator, it's very exciting and engaging for me to use another medium beyond music as inspiration to then highlight and make through lines with music and certainly with other artistic disciplines.
Well, one other aspect of this is more about the technology. I've heard a lot of great music in dreadful recordings that were homemade, essentially. I saw something you put up. It was really impressive. Just the sound quality, the way you're able to couple that with another musician in another location. So I imagine you've learned quite a lot about that, even just recent weeks putting this together.
Yes, I have, and my training is professionally as a violist, but I wear many hats, and I think all of us as creatives, especially during this health pandemic, have learned to wear many hats. But yes, technology is definitely something to really invest in. I have far more credit and honor to give to those that are in this field as videographers as well. It's there's a lot definitely involved with that, but trying to, as I think what we have always done, be resourceful with what we have, and make the most of what is available to us, and also yes with technology, but with also people and knowledge that we're able to glean from community. So it's an investment that took many people. It took a village, I'll say, to be able to put things like this together.
I should finally mention, actually, if people want some more information about how to catch this or participate in some way, what's the best thing for them to do?
Sure. I think you can find everything that you need on our website, which is castleskins.org. There's a Black Love page, and it'll show you the concert. You'll be able to engage with some of the artists that will be involved. Artists meaning the lighting designer, our web designers, our dancers and musicians, composers as well. And then you'll be able to get access to, starting November 1st, our Black Love Market, and see the 11 businesses from Boston and beyond that are participating, and what various discounts between 5 and 15% you can get off of their products. Products being children's books, books of poetry, bath and beauty products, as well as handmade masks. So there's a lot to engage with, and you can find it all at castleskins.org.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. It
Sure, thanks for having me.
was Ashleigh Gordon from Castle of Our Skins. We'll have more news in just a moment.